This is G.B.R.blogspot.com once again. I am addressing the religious community and the religious leaders. Today is February the 1st, 2013. I'm going to turn to a new approach. I've been doing this since 1975. This morning I want to talk about dry bones just laying around. Dry bones here in Valdosta, Georgia, just laying around. They're laying around in the church, in the mosque, in the synagogues, in the courthouse, in the house where you live, in the school system, in the streets, aboard airplanes, and in the subways. We want to talk about dry bones just laying around. You know, in the 37th chapter of Ezekiel, we read about some bones, but I want to tell you something that you may never heard about them bones. Did you know that Ezekiel could have been one of those bones? But something could have happened to Ezekiel to wake him up. And when he got up, he might have looked around and wondered why he was the only bone standing. Could have been like Jeremiah when Jeremiah said it was like fire shut up in his bones, and he wanted to say something, but he got tired. But something had to happen to Ezekiel. Like something had to happen to George Boston Rines. The Bible says that the hand of the Lord was upon Ezekiel. I didn't say he felt the Spirit. I didn't say he shouted. I didn't say he fell down on the floor. I said something was upon him. And he went out into the valley. Now, I don't want to give you that because you already know that story. So what I want to talk about, and I want to use that as a backdrop for how our religious leaders here in Valdosta, Georgia, and those who follow them are just laying around. Just laying around needing somebody to say to them, if you can tell me how to get to heaven, then why can't you tell me and my children how to go to school and get a degree in engineering? Get a degree and master the art of welding, to master the art of psychology. Don't just go into the armed forces. Ain't nothing wrong with going into the armed forces. Nothing, no, nothing wrong with that. But we got to become more diverse. When we go down there and look at the bridge, when we go down and look at the Martin Luther King corridor, when we look at all the street paving here in Valdosta, how did your children benefit from it? So how can you talk about them with their pants down when our minds are down? In order to pick our children's pants up, we got to pick our own mind up. Because the way we are going, we're not going to make it to heaven. I'm sorry. Not the right to heaven. Because if you can see our sons and daughters filling the jails and prisons and the probation roads, and you don't feel any love, you don't feel any compassion for them, then something is wrong. I just wish that out of all these people who put on these long black, red robe and yellow robe like this, I had this for years. I don't wear it much. I don't believe in wearing a robe. I'm only doing this because I want you all to understand that if the church go quiet, if the mosque go quiet, if the synagogue go quiet, if the temples go quiet, and to you Indians who study the Gita, you know the wisdom in the Gita, because I know the wisdom in the Gita. But don't you know that if you can come in the black community and set your businesses up, that you ought to give something back to the black African American communities? And as black folk, don't rejoice in what I just said, because you have a responsibility to do just what the Indians doing, just what the Caucasians are doing, and set up businesses in their community. And you take their dollars and take care of your children like they taking your dollars and taking care of their children. And they going to Paris, they going to France, they going to Italy, they going to Rome, they going to Mexico, and they going to other places using the black dollar to do it. And then you criticize them. Don't blame the white man, blame yourself. Yeah, I know we've been hoodwinked. I know we've been bamboozled. But white people been bamboozled too, because many of them think they're going to heaven. Well, how can you get to heaven, whether you be black, white, green, or blue, and you don't want for your neighbor that which you want to have for yourself? How can you oppress me and think that you're going to get into heaven? You got to have the love of Jesus Christ. You got to have the love of Elijah. You got to have the love of Jeremiah. You got to be able to get up out of the dry bones, to get up from a dead state. Resurrect yourself and your children by giving good teaching. Don't just teach a person about Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden while your children are living in hell. And don't teach your children that they got to wait until they get to heaven before they can have anything. That has been a major impediment among the black African Americans. We learned about the story of Jesus, David, Solomon, and all these black men. We understood that. But what we did not understand is that David didn't just talk. David got up and did some work. And we who go to church every Sunday, we who go to Bible study on Wednesday night, and bear our prayer meeting on Friday night, we got to learn something. We got to start questioning who benefits from the paving of roads, who benefit from all these buildings that's going up, who benefit from the clothes that we wear. How do we benefit by the cosmetics that we put on? How do we benefit by the hairdos and shampoos that they come up with and that we don't even know what's in them? And so we spend all our dollars trying to look good on the outside. But what about the inside? Now, I want to thank God for allowing the internet to come about and for creating YouTube so I can come in and share it with you. Because you know they won't let me speak this in the church. And if I can't speak it in the church, then I come on the street because I want you to have the truth. Because I understand now. I didn't always understand like I do now. I was just like the rest of the preachers. I didn't say nothing about economics. I didn't say nothing about creating your own job and employing your own people. I say go out and get a job and work for somebody else. But what if the white man can do it? If the Korean man can do it? If the German and Japanese man can do it? What in the heck wrong with us black folk? What's wrong with us? I'm tired of seeing people dip in life. They dip to Muhammad. They dip to Jesus. They dip to the son of Amram and Yoshabel, Moses. What you mean, Brother Rhymes, dip? We duplicate, imitate, and placate. But when it comes down to doing what them great men did, we are nowhere to be found. Harriet Tubman didn't punk out under pressure. George Washington Carver didn't punk out under pressure. So why is it that all the churches that we got here today, we got more killings, we got more hatred, we got more division among our people than we ever had before in the history of the world? We got more churches here in Valdosta than we ever had at any period in history. I heard you thinking. No, I'm not being funny. I heard you thinking. Yeah, I heard you. You don't believe me? I heard you thinking. I'm not going to turn my back on you either. I know what you was thinking. Here's the answer. That's what you want the answer. The answer is, get up and do for self. Start preaching the real teachings of Jesus. To love your neighbor as you love yourself. That when you see the least of these, my brethren, you do something about it. When you see 31 jail deaths in the Valdosta Lowndes County Jail, you don't just ignore it. You get up and you say something. You know your news media ignoring you. So what do? You don't just sit back and sit down and shiver like you're scared as hell. You stand up and you start reporting your own news. What do you know about the Equipment 10 over in Equipment? What do you know about the Madison 9? What do you know about the voting problems in Willacoochee? What do you know about the women living in the old jail and the spiders biting people? What do you know about rats big as cats in the jail? What do you know about people being incarcerated for over a year and can't even see their appointed attorney? What do you know about that? What do you know about people that are diabetics in the jail and can't even get their medication, their insulin? What do you know about that? Do you care? Many of you preachers, listen, I'm talking directly to the religious community now, because I'm tired of looking at dry bones in the belly. They ain't even white no more. They done turned black, because they've been laying there too long, and it's time for us to get up now. Yeah, I know, I'm getting a little emotional now. But everything God made, he put it in motion. And when you are not in motion, you are worse than dead, because even the dead is moving. Oh, you may not see them, but somebody see them. Why do you think Ezekiel went out into the valley and he was willing to preach to dry bone? Because he know they was in motion. So when you don't stand up for what is right, come here, Doc. When you don't stand up for what is right, you will not take on the challenges that my friend and brother here did down in Florida. And I hear you thinking, I hear you thinking. This brother right here, you don't know what he went through. You don't know why you see me and him on videos together. I got a pain, but my pain is different from his pain. His pain is much deeper because he dealt with hard-headed folk, just like the dry bones in the valley. He won a lawsuit. How many was in that lawsuit, brother? 850. 850, and I guarantee you he had some dry bones in the bunch. I want to close this out, but I can't close it out without this man telling you that he know too about dry bones in the valley. Tell us about them bones you ran across one day.
Them old bones were lingering in the valley just like so many old dry bones is today. But every now and then, you know, God told the wind that they go down and blow up on the valley and bring life to the old dry bones. Ezekiel had asked several questions. He said, "Oh Lord, can these bones live again?" And all he had to do was prophesy to the throne. So I prophesy unto you that we shall overcome. We're going to overcome this obstacle one day. We ain't got to go down into the valley and beat those, continue to beat those dry bones. All we got to do is stand up and understand what the true resurrection is. And the resurrection with each one of us rising within ourselves. Pick up our own cross and let's bear the burdens of life. And let's look at the economic side of these things. Because it's about true economics. This man is telling you some good stuff. He's telling you the truth. And I'm going to help him to close this by saying that we all are down here in the valley. And there's a great wind that's blowing upon the valley. And someday, we all gonna rise and stand, whether or not we stood for the right thing or not.
Brother, I want to thank you. I'm sure that when you put on that lawsuit filed on behalf of 800-some people, I'm sure people told you this right here. Brother John Robinson, somebody said it couldn't be done. But he was a chuckle replied that maybe it couldn't. But he would be one who wouldn't say so until he tried. So he took off his coat, he took off his hat, and the first thing we knew, he'd begun it. With the lift of his chin and a bit of a grin, without any doubting or quitting, he started to sing as he tackled a thing that could not be done, and he did it. And as a result of him not quitting, he won the lawsuit. And he wasn't selfish in the process. He was able to give something back to his community. And if I have retired from the armed forces that I have, then it's my responsibility to return home and begin to part the waters of truth so you can march through the troubles of this world and go into the promised land wherein your children will not only have their pants down. It's not a bad thing really to have your pants down if you got your money, your economics are up. If you're not careful, power to the people. Don't look at the young man's pants down. Ask yourself, where is my mind? Close us out, brother.
Well, in that litigation, we won $13.5 million. $8 million went back into the black community, and people today were to purchase homes for the first time, and it was all because of discrimination. Manuel Noriega was in the basement during the trial, and the Honorable Judge Hoover of the 5th District of Miami, United States Federal Court. We did make it into history. We scarred time. So why don't you kind of come about the Valley of Dry Bones and see if you can scar time?
All right, once again, this is February the 1st, 2013. We're going to come at you because we believe in not just a game of religion, but we believe in the right religion and not religion. I don't even believe in refried beans. Bye-bye, we're gone.